Today we're going to talk about capturing documents using the Dash DDX Publisher. The purpose of the Publisher is to let you view, classify, and file almost any document you want in DDX so that you can preserve it, search for it, and find it later when you need it. Now there are a variety of ways of getting documents to the Publisher. I can use a directory as a queue, I can drag and drop files there, I can simply print to it, and more. We'll look at that later. And once there, I can view all sorts of different formats, from PDF to TIFF to Word, Excel, JPEG, and more. In addition, there's a variety of ways to classify documents, as we'll see in a few moments. So let's take a look. So when I first launched the Publisher, at the left I see a list of documents for me to deal with. Think of this like the replacement for that stack of paper that I might use as I'm filing things away. That list is just a list of the files in my incoming directory, or my queue, which we see down at the bottom of my screen on the left. In the center, I'm able to view the document that I'm about to file and put away, and at the right, my job is to classify this document in one way, shape, or form so that people can find it later. I'm going to choose a document type from the list of document types that my system administrator has given to me. DDX ships with about 25 or 30 different document types predefined, but your administrator can create their own and change the ones that are there. Once I've chosen a document type, the keywords that are appropriate for that particular kind of document are displayed below. In my case, with a customer purchase order, customer name and number and order number and keywords like that are most appropriate. Now I can enter that information here directly. I'm going to clear that out because I don't want to do the keystrokes. I can select from lists that my system administrator has set up for me. Some of these lists are self-populating, like the customer name list that we see here, just based on the experience of what's already in DDX. And if I have the optional value module, the validation and auto lookup module, I can look for a keyword that's lit up in a little bit different color, like my order number here. And in my case, I can type in the order number and click the lookup button, click, and it goes out to my ERP system's database and looks up that order number, validates that it's real, and brings back all the remaining keywords for me. Now that auto lookup module is capable of reading into almost any database you like to validate your keywords and to make sure that they're all consistent with the information that you've got already in your ERP system. Once I've filled all my keywords in, whether it's keying them in, selecting from a drop-down list, or using the value module, all I need to do to save this thing to the DDX archive is click the Save button. It saves it, and you'll notice it's moved on to the next document on my stack at the left and removed the one that was there before, primarily because I had this delete on save option enabled. That, when I click the save button, removes the item I was looking at and moves on to the next one. So just like turning over the top piece of paper on my stack when I'm done with it, DDX removes that top item from my list and moves on to the next one, and my queue of things to do gets shorter. Let's take a look at some of the toolbar items and the components here and how you can kind of tailor this thing to your own needs. If we look over at the left, we see the list of incoming documents. Again, this is my queue of things to put away. Well, that is defined by the folder that we see down at the bottom. If I wish to change my queue or change the folder where I'm looking for these things, I can simply click the little button to the right, choose a different folder, for example, Harriet's queue or Elmer's queue, and I can view the documents that are there and use that to publish. I'm going to leave mine alone for the moment. At the toolbar on the top, on the left, I have several options that relate to this queue of incoming documents. I can refresh the list, meaning if there's any new things there, they'll pop up here. I can delete an item on the list, simply select it and click the delete button. It asks me if it's okay, and away it goes. I can print a copy of this directly from here. If I need to send a copy to someone by email, I just click the send mail button, and it takes the selected document and pops it up in my Outlook. I can send it to whomever I wish for their notification or approval or whatever. If I need to open a document and make some changes to it, I simply select the document, and it launches whatever Windows thinks is the appropriate tool to view and edit this thing in. I could add a little comment here in my Acrobat. Hi there. And when I save this and exit, and I come back and refresh my view, here I can see my comments been added, so I have an opportunity to edit these things before I put them away. Just like the button we saw at the bottom, the incoming folder button pops the window up and lets me choose a different folder for my display at the left. We already talked about the delete on save option, and the clear on save option says that after I've clicked the save button, if I've enabled this option, it will clear all the keywords just like clicking this clear fields button does when I do it manually. Click, all of the keyword fields are cleared out. Next, we have the view selector, where my system administrator can grant me access to certain views into the DDX database. The view controls which divisions and document types are accessible to me when it comes to publishing things. So this may be a much shorter list for you, maybe longer, depending on what your system administrator has set up, but this will control what I can publish and what I can't. In addition, if you have the value module, the validation and auto lookup module, this lookup option here lets me choose from the library of lookups that my system administrator has set up for me. I, for example, have some here that are related to looking up customer order information versus customer invoice versus supplier invoice versus a job, and so on and so forth. So once you have this module in place, your system administrator can create a whole variety of lookups that can help you validate those keywords and make sure that they're consistent with the information that's in your databases, whether it's your ERP databases or other databases that you may have. Once I've selected that lookup that I'm using, it determines which field or keyword field is the appropriate one for me to enter. In my case, order number is set because I've chosen this particular lookup. When I enter something here, 841X or Z, something maybe bad information, when I click the lookup button, it actually performs the lookup. Click. And in my case, it's bad information, so it's come back and complained to me that this is not valid. I didn't find any records. When I fix that and make it a real order number and click the lookup button again, click, now it's all there for me to save and move forward with. Also with the value module, you get the QuickTag feature. With QuickTag, you grab your tags or keywords directly from the page by pointing and clicking. QuickTag makes it easy to classify your documents in seconds without having to use your keyboard at all. It works with most searchable PDFs. To use QuickTag, I enable it by clicking the QuickTag button. That button toggles this feature on and off. Then as I move my mouse along through the document, we can see that it's highlighting various words, and the little hover hint that I'm looking at there on my page says I'm about to fill the vendor name keyword. And right below that, it shows me the value that I'm about to put into that keyword. In order to do so, I just click. And you'll notice over at the right, I've put the word dash into the vendor name, and my hint has moved right along to the next tag so that I can just keep my eyes on the document here and select the number, select another number, select a date, and so on and so forth, and it's working my way all the way through that document. Now, if I need to select multiple words, I can do that by clicking my left mouse button and dragging and highlighting a certain area, and then clicking on that highlighted area, and it places all of that text that I selected into one of my keywords. Pretty simple. You can also choose which tag or keyword to start on simply by clicking there, and you'll notice the highlight has changed here at the right, as well as the hover hint is now changed, in my case, to focus on invoice number. So I can start there, and it will just keep walking down through my list of fields as we go. It's pretty easy. Just point and click, and your document is classified and preserved in seconds. Again, I want to stress that this works with most searchable PDFs. So if you're using searchable PDF, this is a great tool for you to use to classify your documents. The next button on my list is the Save button. This saves it to the DDX archive, and I'm all done with it. The last button here is the Save To button, where I can take any of the keywords that I've already entered along with the document that I've entered and save it to someone else's queue. So for example, I have Harriet's and Elmer's queues here, so if I were to move this to Harriet's queue at the moment, when she launches her publisher will pop up with that document in line and all of the appropriate keywords to go with it. So she can look at it, edit those keywords before actually saving it into DDX. Also coming with the toolbar is an ability to collapse it, so I can get rid of all the screen real estate here and just pop it open when I need it. I just click the little button at the upper right and you'll notice the toolbar goes away, but when I want to see it back, I just click the home button and it drops down to show me what I need to see. I like to keep mine open at all times, so I'm just going to undo that. In addition, DDX comes with a complete help system. So if I open up the help menu, I can get to the user guide. I can go to Dash TV and see additional videos, see the flow of DDX, connect to our website, email to support@Dash, or connect with Dash support for additional help. As I mentioned earlier, there's a variety of different ways to get documents to the publisher so you can classify them and file them. One of them is just simply saving a document into your directory or your queue. Just save it as something and save it to the appropriate directory and you're good to go. Another way is just simply to take and drag and drop them to a shortcut to your directory. So I'm dragging and dropping this attachment from my email into my directory and away we go. We're all done. Another way to get a document to the publisher is right from my Windows Explorer. I can right-click on a file. I can say send to the Dash DDX Publisher. And when I do, it launches the publisher and focuses in on just the one file I just selected. I can classify it and put it away now. Or if I'm also using Dash's form recognition module, DDX port, it comes with a print driver that I can use to capture these things as well. Instead of printing this document out and scanning it back in, I can just simply say I want to go print, and I choose the Dash DDX printer, and when I say print, it comes back and it complains a little. It says, I don't recognize this particular form, and that's understandable because the print driver is built to be a form recognition tool, but in this case, because it doesn't recognize the form, I have a couple options. I can save it as a PDF, I can print it, or I can publish it. If I choose the publish option, it goes and converts this thing to a PDF, and it launches the DDX Publisher focused on this one document I just saved, and I can classify it, and I can save it, and I've just captured a copy of that document as a PDF. So to wrap things up, the DDX Publisher gives you a quick and simple way to classify and file your documents from almost any desktop. It's the perfect way to improve your workflow, reduce your filing effort, protect and preserve your documents, and best of all, make your documents easy to share and find when you need them. Thanks for watching this session on the DDX Publisher on Dash TV.